Welcome back to Little House in the South. My name is Becca. This is my husband, Josh. And today, in honor of Valentine's Day, we wanted to share with you our story of how we met and fell in love and got engaged and started this crazy adventure. A little bit of background about me is that I grew up in Maine and came south to go to college, and that's where I met Josh, was in college. And I was an agriculture major, and you were?
An engineering major.
We normally would never have crossed paths at our university. It was way too huge for us to have normally crossed paths, so it was kind of a...
The engineering and agriculture were on two completely different parts of the campus.
Yeah, they had two separate campuses.
I had an associate's degree and I had a lot of extra credits, so I just needed to take a bunch of PEs as filler classes. And so I signed up to take an extra PE and waited too long, and every single PE was full except for one, country dance.
And for me, I had a friend who didn't want to take her PE alone, so I was going to take it just for a couple weeks and then drop it until she could, meet a few friends and get comfortable. And so...
Best class ever.
Yeah, we ended up meeting in country dance. We learned how to two-step and square dance, and...
I got to know Becca a little bit better in the class because you would rotate different partners every 3 to 5 minutes. And so you got to spend time with everyone, dance with multiple people. And upon getting to know her better, she invited me to her group of friends' little get-togethers. They would do game nights, and they would go out dancing. We went out shag dancing that night or that week, and afterwards we just started spending more time together. Yeah, not by accident.
No, not by accident. I think that everybody else except for me knew that Josh liked me way before I did. I was so clueless. He used to come over to my dorm room and we would study together, and he would accidentally leave his books over there so he'd have a reason to come back the next day.
Yeah, it happens.
It worked.
It happens a lot.
So fast forward only a few months, really. We met, and then a few months later, we were really good friends through that whole time. Mm-hmm. We got close quickly. And yes. I think we both kind of knew where it was heading before it became official, but
absolutely.
We both wanted to settle down and have a family, and I think we shared that with each other pretty early on. Mm-hmm. And then I had a dance. I was essentially an RA, but it was a little bit of a different role, and we had a special formal. Mm-hmm. And
that's a resident assistant, by the way.
Yes. So I had several girls that I was mentoring, and we had a formal, and it was an all-girls dance, so we had to do the asking, but both of us are so old-fashioned, and I really wanted him to ask me, but he couldn't because he didn't have the ticket.
Yes, let me ask you if I can take you to your dance.
So I can't remember how, but I fished around, and we somehow...
I said I would really enjoy going with you, I think, at one point, and you said, you just made a comment, well, you should probably take me then. Yeah. I said, I guess I will then.
So, and on that very romantic night, we were walking across this beautiful bridge on campus. There was wisteria flowers hanging down over all of the walkways. It was gorgeous. I will never forget that night. But I was cold because I had on my fancy dress and everything, and he gave me a suit jacket because I was cold. He was such a gentleman. And we stood out on that bridge, and he asked me if I would date him and be officially his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that was kind of the beginning of our love story.
So fast forward probably about 4 months, 4 or 5 months. Yeah, sometime in July, we went up to Maine and to visit your family for me to meet them for the first time. I had already met her aunt and uncle at this point, who she was very close with.
And my grandparents.
And your grandparents, and I survived all of them somehow. And after I was threatened multiple times.
Oh, I'm sure.
In a joking, loving, but probably partially serious way. And so I went up to Maine, and I got to meet your dad and your mom. and just get to know everybody. And then things got interesting.
Things got very interesting on that trip.
It's hilarious.
He went off with my dad to have the talk of whether or not, or like to get permission to date me, even though we were technically already dating. He wanted to kind of have that talk with my dad.
Yeah,
My dad, I don't know how that all worked.
I wanted to make my intentions clear to your dad, but I did not realize your father was gonna initiate that talk with me. And when he pulled off on one of the side roads, I thought he was just gonna kill me and bury me in the woods somewheres up there. But just realized there's a lot of woods up there, and but we sat there in his truck and talked, and I told him how I felt about you and what my intentions were, and we prayed. And just as we were wrapping up, one of your neighbors pulled up, I believe, and told your dad that your cow was in labor.
Yes.
And Tim said, "All right, let's go."
And so that was Josh's initiation in the family. He helped a cow give birth. And so a very messy couple of hours followed that.
I'd never done that before.
Yeah.
Been around farming my whole life, but I'd never had the pleasure of doing that, and it was awesome. It really was awesome.
It was a fun experience, and I think he really impressed everybody. My grandfather was there, and my parents, and all of them, just were very impressed that Josh didn't wimp out.
A ruined set of clothes and t-shirt.
Definitely a ruined pair of sneakers.
Yeah, a ruined set of clothes and sneakers later, and I think I was in the good with your parents.
You were on the in, yeah.
So go forward another 5 months, and it's coming Christmas time, and I think we had planned to spend Christmas apart just with our families because we were still dating, but at this point I knew that I wanted to marry Becca, that she was the girl for me, and that I'd known that for a while, probably since helping give birth to a calf. And and we were gonna to be spending Christmas apart the actual week of, and I decided to surprise you by coming up to Maine, and I knew in my mind I was going to ask her to marry me while I was up there. Then I arranged for a flight up to Maine, and I called her family. All before doing this, I called her father and spoke to him about getting his permission to ask her to marry me. And he said yes, which was much
meant a lot to both of us that he...
much to my relief, he said yes.
Yeah.
And then I arranged the flight and made the whole thing a surprise. And
that was a trick that you pulled off there, because he's the one who dropped me off at the airport. So he dropped me off at the airport and then circled the airport long enough for me to get into my gate so that I wouldn't bump into him.
I had to work with the airlines so I could get a different flight that had a shorter layover.
Yeah, and in a different airport. So my layover was longer and in a different airport so that he could not only drop me off at the airport and me leave first, but then he would get on a plane and get up to Maine in between time before I got into Maine.
Yes, and so I had arranged with her family that I would get there before you did, after dropping you off. And our planes got diverted in mid-flight because of an airplane that had mechanical trouble on the runway. So we both got diverted to backup airports, and you were trying to call me the whole time, and I couldn't answer my phone because I knew you would hear that I was in an airport.
Oh yeah, and I was livid. I was so mad because he would not answer his phone.
So fast forward a couple hours, I ended up getting there. Your brother picked me up and took me there. It was 0 degrees when we landed.
It was freezing that week.
And we got up there, and once I was on the way home with your brother, I ended up getting there, and you were in the car with your parents talking about how
mad I was at you for not answering the phone.
And so they were just trying not to smile, I'm sure. And you walked in the door of your house, and there I was sitting.
He was sitting at the kitchen table, and I was so surprised. And it was really special, too, because Christmas is one of my favorite times of year. It's my birthday is right around Christmas as well. So you got to be there for my birthday and for Christmas, so it was really special. So I should have known something was up, that you pulled all these magical tricks out of your hat.
So go to Christmas Day, and I did my best on a college student's work job to get gifts, several gifts, so you would just think I was just trying to be good good boyfriend, and then pulled out the last gift. And it was a big box. And
it was a box in a box in a box.
she kept unwrapping it, and there was boxes and boxes and boxes. And
about halfway through the boxes, I knew it was coming, I think.
Yeah.
Because it was
getting more obvious as the boxes got smaller.
as the boxes got smaller.
So she opened it up in front of her whole family, her grandfather,
My grandmother was there.
Mom and dad and brother, and got to that last box, and I took it and got down on one knee and asked her to marry me.
Thank you so much for stopping by the farm. We had so much fun reminiscing today about our love story, and we hope you all have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Please like and subscribe down below so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos.